right, joined by Liberty senior forward Kyle Rhoda and Jason Porter with a special guest. Jason, who's this?
This is my son Christopher, man. Big time Flames fan.
What's
All
up,
right.
Christopher? Hey, Christopher,
Hello.
you got to ask the first question tonight.
Got it? What do you got?
Kyle, what do you do when you do your first basketball practice?
So normally our first basketball practice, we've already been here all summer, so it's kind of not as new as you'd think. But normally our first basketball practice is a lot of habit building, a lot of daily drills that we do, even still in the regular season. So coach is big on getting game reps in practice and situations, and he loves letting us play 5-on-5 too, and learn the game that way. So it's a lot of fun, a lot of drills and some 5-on-5.
Yeah, you guys probably missed it yesterday, but Christopher had his first basketball game. He had 10 points yesterday, so he was hooping.
All right.
I love
It was on
it.
ESPN plus.
The Ocho. Hey, Kyle, talk about a little bit about that Central Arkansas game. Carrispoo had that ridiculous foul on Zay, and y'all just went off like Liberty Arena was fired up. Did that ignite something in you guys when when it starts to get a little bit chippy like that?
Yeah, I think that was the best crowd, at least at this part in the conference season that we've had. And having some students back and just getting that energy from the crowd is always exciting. And we're not really into all the antics and the talk and stuff like that. So just try to stay the course and talk to our team, but at the same time, like, it fuels you for sure. And Zay did a great job drawing an offensive foul. He does that so well, and rode some momentum. Darius hit some big shots, and everything was flowing. So, and that gets the crowd even more hyped.
We're all into the antics and the drama over here. I love it.
Well, we'll save it for the podcast, though. We'll let you guys do your talking on the floor. Kyle, you guys have had the last couple of years. You always had some good games defensively, but I feel like the last 9 has maybe been your best stretch in a while of consistent play, game after game after game after game. Talk about what it takes to be that consistent on the defensive end.
Yeah, I think one of the hardest parts about defense is when it's not going your way offensively, right? Like, it's easy to play defense when you're hitting shots and crowds into it and everything like that. But when you go on some of those droughts, that's when you need defense the most. So I think having a intentionality and guys that really we pride ourselves on the defensive end is something we've been working on as a team. And the numbers kind of happen by itself, but it's a super cool stat. And yeah, I feel like our guys have done a great job in our prep. Coaches have done a great job preparing us in that way. And I just want to keep building on that, man. That's an awesome stat.
Yeah, guys, we have the luxury of being local, thankfully, and of course we're at the game last night, and I want to just go back to what Will said a little bit, because it was, I'm sure it came across on the TV screen, but gents, it was salty last night, to say the least. I mean, It was getting a little chippy. And what's kind of cool about that? I mean, we know that there's trash talk in sports and whatever else, but Kyle, I just think it's so cool that you guys just don't respond to that, and really it was all led by the other 22 for sure. But I was just going to ask you too, what, as a player, that's not ever been your shtick, I'm sure. You're not kind of that guy. You just sort of point to the scoreboard and walk off kind of deal. But, what's been your experience? Because I'm sure you've had a little bit of trash talking through the years and all in playing ball and stuff. What's been some of the funnier things you've had said to you or that you've overheard somebody saying on the court?
Yeah, no, that's a good one, man. I think especially in college, everybody's so good, so you got to be careful of what bear you poke there, kind of deal. Like, but no, over the years, I mean, on the road, you hear more stuff from fans and stuff like that, which is always fun. And when you're at home and you feel like you have 3,500 people behind you, that's always super unique too, man. So. Yeah, definitely not one of those kind of guys that will start anything at all, but definitely love competing, and I think that's where it all comes from. It's everybody's got a heart to compete, and sometimes that comes out verbally, and you say the wrong thing, it can turn into like you said, getting a little salty out there. But it's always fun, man. It's just competing and part of sports.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of salty, out of you guys, the 5 conference wins that you guys have won by a total of 118 points. But there's a lot of parity in the league this year, and you guys have a tough stretch of going against some Florida teams, and so there's some history there as well. What's kind of the mindset of the team going into this kind of a little bit of a tough stretch here?
Yeah, super good. I think our preparation kind of stays the same. We, playing 2 really good teams, and you got to play the first game before you can get to the second game too. So
Yeah.
we'll be locked in for these 3 days of practice that we have in front of us, and get to go to Florida. So that's always nice. And it seems like just yesterday that we were playing in the ASON championship there during COVID in Jacksonville for a week. So that always brings back good memories, man. And get to play against one of my old teammates in Carter Hendrickson at North Florida. So it's always good to see him, and his family and his girlfriend are all awesome people. So Jacksonville is always a fun trip, man. I'm super excited, and yeah, it's gonna be 2 really good tests for us.
All right, so I know you're 100% focused on Jacksonville, but we won't talk with you before North Florida. Liberty hasn't won yet at North Florida. What would it mean for you guys to get a win there?
Yeah, I think road wins in conference are really tough to come by. So I think for us, it'd be a great win, and we have guys that will be their first time playing there, so they've never experienced that too. And I've played there twice now and 0-2, but at the same time, you don't really think about that when the ball tips. So it's definitely going to be a tough task for us, but at the same time, I think we're up for it, man. It'd be another good road test.
Yeah, Kyle, take us behind the scenes just a little bit with this Florida trip down to Jacksonville and getting North Florida. I know the locations are such. It's kind of a unique trip for you, kind of a 2-for-1. What about like where you're staying and kind of how that'll work out with the gyms being or with the schools being so close?
Yeah, it's actually super nice. Normally we stay at the same hotel throughout the whole trip, which is great, and they got really good restaurants there, and the weather's always pretty nice, man. So not having to change hotels or travel Thursday and move on a Friday is always super nice. And I think we play Jacksonville first, so we'll be probably at a hotel closer to Jacksonville. I don't know for sure, but I mean they're 15, 20 minutes apart, so you really can't beat it, man. It's a great travel partner, being able to play both of them.
Kyle, last question for you tonight. I wanted to ask you about Shiloh Robinson. Had a huge game against North Alabama on Thursday night. How special was that for him to kind of have that he's had breakout performances before, but his breakout performance maybe of this season?
Yeah, I think Shy is so vital to our team on and off the court, man. Like we came in together, got to play with some of those great Liberty players that everybody remembers so well. We're part of that 30-4 team as freshmen, and I think Shiloh's leadership, defensive abilities, and just who he is normally is what you guys see. But at the same time, like Shiloh's so dynamic in that he's a hard guard, like especially when he's shooting the ball well, and he plays with aggression and confidence that really sparked us the other night, and he did a great job. And we have the ultimate trust in him, whether he's coming off the bench or starting or whatever that is. And I know he feels the same way. So it's super awesome to see a guy like that kind of get rewarded in that way and have a big scoring night for everybody to see and praise him in that way. So it was awesome, man. And he's one of my best friends.
Awesome, Kyle. Well, thank you so much. Kyle Road, top 100 in the country in assist rate. Big weekend this week for Liberty. We're looking forward to seeing you guys play 2 games down in Florida this weekend. Best of luck to you.
Guys. Thanks, man. Thanks for staying on, CJ.
You're welcome.
All right. Thanks, Kyle. All right. Well, that was a fun time with our guy, Kyle Road. Jason, I wanted to ask you, when we're trying to pick out the right house for us, what all kind of things do you look into for that?
Yeah, I'm going to keep it in a little bit of a basketball theme, and we'll talk about the big three, shall we? Even count the way the refs do and kind of go like that. So first thing we always talk to first-time homebuyers about, number one, from the street view, you can usually get a pretty good gauge on what condition the roof is in. So that would be number one. Roofs are a really big deal for a lot of reasons. I think that's fairly intrinsic as far as that goes. But you want to make sure that you've got a newer roof, if at all possible, because that's leading into all kinds of water issues in the attic and those kind of things, and not to mention a major repair expense if the roof's not in good shape. So number one would be the roof. Number two is always the windows. If you can take a look at the windows and check and see if you've got newer vinyl replacement windows, because that's an energy saving issue there. So your utility bills can be managed by better windows, obviously. And then same kind of thing on the flip side of that, if you've got to replace those windows, pretty expensive to do that. So you want to take a look at windows. And then number three is the heat pump or the HVAC system. If you can see that from the outside, you got to be careful on that one. If you're not on the fish show, you can kind of get busted for trespassing, so be careful on that. But if they'll pass the vision test and the eye test, in other words, you can see that it's a pretty good unit outside. Obviously, that controls heating and cooling. Another major ticket item expense if you've got to replace that or do something with that. So those are the big three: roof, windows, and HVAC system are always great to just kind of see if they pass the eye test.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Jason and CJ. It was awesome to have you on.
I have a question for CJ.
Oh,
CJ, are you learning any elements of the pack line defense right now?
No.
That's next year.
That'll come
It
along.
operates on such a high level, man. I think we'd all be great students of the game if we picked it up with what Coach McKay throws down.
That's right.